I know I'm still supposed to review The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, but it's 200 minutes long. I figured it was too long, so I wanted to review something a bit shorter first. So I'm going for Winter Sleep, which is about 195 minutes long. I apologize in advance for my terrible attempt at pronouncing Turkish, but here we go. Winter Sleep is directed by Nuri Bilge Ceylan, written by Nuri Bilge Ceylan and his wife Ebru Ceylan, and stars Haluk Bilginer, Melissa Sozen, Demet Akbag, and Serhat Kilik. I apologize to everybody who speaks Turkish. Winter Sleep is about a man named Aydin, who is a former actor and now is kind of rich. He owns a hotel in Turkey which is like built into the side of a mountain, and he basically just lives his life like very idyllically. He just spends all his time researching about Turkish theater. He writes for this magazine, he writes pretentious articles that nobody ever reads, and he sees himself like the lord of his domain, but in reality everyone doesn't like him, and he really just can't see that. And throughout the course of this movie's 3 hours and 15 minutes roughly, we get to see how the poorer people in his society are beginning to show contempt towards him, and not just them also, but his family and friends begin to show disdain also for him. Just like Boyhood, I was really surprised we even got this movie. It showed in the Cinema One Originals Festival, like for a different kind of section of the festival, and obviously I really wanted to watch this movie because I heard it won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was just an opportunity that would probably never come again, I think. And I really wasn't sure what to expect of the movie because, I don't know, for me at least, the Palme d'Or winners are always kind of, they're pretty interesting because sometimes they're really cool, like, you know, they give it to Pulp Fiction or something, and sometimes they give it to like really experimental kind of movies. Thankfully though, it turns out that Winter Sleep is an excellent movie. This has really nice visuals, some great editing. It makes the 3 hour running time feel like nothing, and some of the best writing in a movie ever this year. Most of Winter Sleep takes place in Aiden's cave hotel thing, you know, like the walls of the hotel are really like made of stone. And I'm not sure if this is a real place, but it really just kind of made everything look very elegant, but at the same time really crude. It really struck that balance because it is, you know, natural. It's just very natural walls, which is beautiful, but at the same time, you know, it kind of makes you feel like you're actually living in a cave. What I love about this is that the interiors feel very hollow, so the hollowness kind of reflects Aiden's pretentiousness, and the stone walls themselves kind of they bring everyone down to an equal level because most of this movie is people talking and arguing with each other. And you know, in other situations, obviously, like the rich person will come off as you know more superior over the poorer person. But here, because they're kind of in this area that's just super isolated and it just brings everything back to basics, you know, stone walls and everything, it makes the people arguing feel like they're on equal terms now. All the interior spaces in this movie, not just the cave hotel, but like other people's houses, they're really kind of quietly inhabited by very subtle detail. You know, like especially like the poorer houses are also just as hollow as the cave hotel, but you know, there's lots of little touches that really kind of show you how these people are living. You know, in the poorer houses, obviously, like the production design there makes it seem like they are kind of just getting by on the skin of their teeth. But in Island's Hotel, it's really like fully furnished. But the coolest part about the interior design and stuff here is that the lighting in these areas is almost always seems to come from some sort of flickering fire, like a candle or a fireplace. And I think this really highlights like the tension bubbling underneath every single conversation that happens here. You know, it's not a steady light that's always there. Like, you know, these lights, it really is just this kind of random source of illumination that you don't know if it's gonna go out or not. But outside all these interior spaces, there's this magnificent sprawling landscape outside. Turkey looks gorgeous in this movie, and what I love is that because this is Winter Sleep, this movie does take place in the winter, the imagery we get outside is just so cold that it actually elicited like an actual response from my body where I felt extra cold in the theater. For a 3 hour movie, this is a slowly paced movie, especially relatively speaking, but I think it's very intelligently paced. What I mean by this is that with the conversations people have, it really is just like a two-camera setup. You know, you don't have the camera like you know swooping around and taking like different angles to people's faces as they talk. It really is just camera A, camera B, and I actually think this really services the long conversations because it really kind of keeps focus on what's being said instead of you know just distracting us with movement. But in between each conversation, some of which last up to like 25 minutes long, I'm not exaggerating, there are these really long periods of silence where I personally think that we're given breathing room to kind of absorb what was said during the conversations. It also gives us time to absorb the many themes running out throughout the movie. And also serves as a very sharp contrast to the relative safety and the comfort of the hotel because these long silences take place like in the wilderness. It's cool also how this natural imagery in the outside world really kind of interrupts like the coldness and the cerebral suffocation of people talking, and I think that's what makes it intelligently paced, that Nuri Bilge Ceylan really knew where to put these long periods of silence. There isn't really any overarching plot in the movie, but the most plot you can get here is there's a series of small occurrences that happen like at the beginning of the movie that really kind of produce a ripple effect and affects everything else that happens in the movie. At its core, Winter Sleep really is a character study, but it's a very passive character study. What I mean by that is that you know how you have biopics that really kind of uh, tell you about a person's life by making that person engage in action and whatnot. But here, the character study for Aiden doesn't really do a lot in the movie except talk, and you just kind of um, know more about him through what other people say. I think this works extremely well because through what other people say, it challenges you to kind of make up your mind about whether or not you think Aiden is a good person or a bad person. Interestingly enough, Aiden is the most closed off of all the characters here, and he's the main character. But everyone else, I think, all the supporting characters are more, they're more accessible, and thus it's easier to connect with the themes through them, not through Aiden. Aiden just kind of stands as a central figure around which all the other supporting characters react to. But the dialogue in this movie is absolutely fantastic. It's not so heavy and cerebral that you won't be able to understand it, or it might feel like class. It really just feels like two, albeit very intelligent people talking to each other. And it really just feels like you've read a great book afterwards. I mean, there's so much dialogue that afterwards I was a bit exhausted, but it just felt so enriched about it. And it's really thought-provoking, the things they talk about. In terms of acting, Haluk Bilginer, who plays Aiden, has this real restraint about him, and his demeanor is very placid. And that's really deceptive, actually, because it took me a long time to realize that maybe we're not actually supposed to root for this guy completely. Melissa Sozan plays Aiden's much younger wife, and she's very quiet, she's very submissive throughout most of the movie, but this kind of really betrays uh, her frustration for her own husband. Other characters just kind of tell Aiden that he has a problem or whatever, but his wife really is just kind of quiet and suffering, and it is heartbreaking to watch her just kind of lose it at points. Demet Akbag, who plays Aiden's sister, is like the complete opposite of his wife. She just does not care about Aiden's feelings. She will tell him what she wants to say. And Serhat Kilik plays like this imam, I think, who is just trying to get on Aiden's good side, and he's really annoying, but he comes off as very natural. Like, I could see all these other people I've met throughout my life in this character, and that's what I can say about this whole cast, is that they're very natural. It doesn't feel like they're acting. When they talk to each other, it really just feels like they're talking. It doesn't feel scripted at all. Nuri Bilge Ceylan really shows just as much restraint as his actors, because he really just allows the conversations to unfold without feeling the need to distract the audience with doing some sort of camera trick or whatever to kind of wake us up from the conversation. All the scenes outdoors are also filmed with a lot of restraint, although in a different way. We're shown a lot of imagery, like strange imagery, and this time Nuri Bilge Ceylan really just kind of does not interfere with that imagery. He allows us to completely interpret it however we want to. There are a couple of scenes of conflict or violence throughout the movie, but they're very sudden and they're over very quickly, and it's clear that Ceylan really does not want to linger on the acts themselves, but on the effects they have on the people and the uneasy you feel after these acts. My only issue with Winter Sleep is that, I don't know, some people might find the very ending, like a bit too ambiguous, and I'm personally am kind of confused by it, although I do like it also. But I still also wish that they did more with the sister character, because I thought she was extremely interesting. She had the most interesting, stance in relation to Aiden, and they set something up between her and Aiden's wife, but they don't really go anywhere with it, and I kind of wish they did, because I feel like that's an opportunity lost. But other than that, seriously, Winter Sleep is an awesome movie. I was not expecting it. But what did you guys think of Winter Sleep? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.